All right, beautiful people, beauties and cuties, ya cool kids, what is up and how are you doing? Straight from the Danger Room, it is your favorite struggling R&B producer, Valentine the Plug, and boy, do I got a slick guitar sample for y'all today that I can't wait to break down. So before I'm gonna hit you up with a preview, I'm gonna give y'all the chords first. Y'all can let them sizzle a little bit, listen to the preview, and then I'm gonna break down how I made that into a dope ass beat. So I gotta admit that making R&B chords, the chord progressions is easily becoming my most favorite thing about actually making R&B. So the chords that we're rocking with today are a G sharp minor ninth, a C sharp minor seventh, a D sharp minor seventh. I'm trying to hit that hammer on here with the pinky finger. And then a E major 7 chord. And then we're gonna add all kinds of cool variations to make that chord progression a little more interesting. Let's get to the preview. Alright, beautiful folks, live from the Danger Room, which is what I affectionately dubbed my studio after a year of being here. Congratulations to me, by the way, damn. We are here with this amazing sample. Let me just run you through the chords real quick. After recording them, I did pitch them up about 100 cents. So I'm rocking with an A minor 9th chord here that goes into a D minor 7 chord, goes into an E minor 7 chord, goes into this beautiful F major 7 chord. Same shit, actually just repeating itself, but here you can actually see that I'm ending it with this real short, kind of a stab even E minor 7 chord. Goes back and well, there's a lot of cool variations and embellishments in the guitar, but you're probably just gonna have to listen to that. So I would say that this is not too complex a chord progression, and I had an epiphany that an R&B chord progression doesn't need to be complex. You don't have to use the most esoteric chords you can find, but the complexity is actually found in the way you express yourself with the chords. Each chord in R&B is actually a stepping stone you can use to express yourself, and those expressions are actually the embellishments. Those are your hammer-ons, your pull-off, your improvs in between, you know, your little licks, riffs, and runs, and that's what's really important in R&B. Of course, diversify the amount of chords that you're using, but the biggest tip I would give you if you're delving into R&B is look for the expressiveness in the details. That's very important. So let me just shut the hell up and play y'all this sample that I got. I'm gonna be playing up until this part, so it's gonna be a long listen, but you know, bear with me because this sample is amazing. So I feel like working kind of a little differently today, and that is actually by just starting off with the drums first instead of building the sample first. So I already got my hi-hats in place. I'm gonna just go and put my claps down right 125 BPM, so my clap should be right here. And you kind of get the general idea. So the point is actually to add a lot of subtle perks in between. Of course, I got to turn down the volume of all of these babies since they are kind of loud. But I really want to give it an in-between drum bounce. It's got to be kind of an up-tempo kind of beat. You get that real smoothness. It's definitely something that I can imagine Ty Dolla $ign on. Maybe other artists, Lucky Day, Masego perhaps, if they want to do a trap crossover. Daniel Caesar could work as well when we finally decide to stop canceling him. Just brainstorm. So with that drum beat in place, we are going to right click here on the pattern highlighter. We are going to choose split by channel, which means that they're all going to be divided into separate patterns which I can just easily drag and drop into the playlist like so. Boom. Them's my drums. They're all nicely tucked into some mixer tracks. I went for 130 BPM because that just gave me the I thought 125 was a little bit too slow, and when it's too slow you don't quite get the energy out of it that you need, and energy is very important to me. I'm big on the vibe of the beat, and 125 BPM, I don't think it's a really common tempo to use in R&B, especially not in modern pop music, contemporary R&B. 130 BPM is a lot more like it, so it's more of a pragmatic choice. Now, if you excuse me, I gotta remove something from my window before the glass breaks. Now, of course, that begs the question, what am I going to do with the 808? Well, luckily, your boy has a couple of handy-dandy 808s made in Sublab that I pretty much use on every other beat because I don't particularly know why I would rely on other people's kits. Not knocking them, of course, but since I got my own, you feel me, your boy's gotta have his own back. So I'm gonna take out one particular 808 that I really like using, which I think is this one. Boom. And I'm gonna just go for a regular 808 pattern which matches the kick. The best way to induce energy in your beat, get that bounce going on, is to time your 808s on the kick so that they hit together. So every time you hit the accent, you also have the accent in the low end, and that's basically what people think is pleasant to hear. It from trap, basically any music, any music. So that's what we're gonna do. So everything I did in this 808 pattern was on purpose. Actually, I purposely made it so that the first part of the phrase is going from basically the D to the A sharp, then it's going back up again, and then it's slowly descending. But at the end, because all phrases, progressions have to cycle back to the beginning, I'm actually adding these two notes, this little second interval that allows it to cycle back to the D again. So you get a pleasant cycle that is actually in harmony, that actually sounds good. Long story short, it works. There's a lot of ways to say that it works, but I really want y'all to understand why it works and why I did what I did, because often I sit here, I'm in my zone and everything just goes well, but I kind of forget that not everybody has the experience that we producers have. And obviously I don't have the experience you have. What am I talking about again? Now, all evidence suggested that I was working in the beautiful key of F major, which is what I actually determined. I because I didn't write this chord progression in a particular key in mind, I just end up being in a certain key. That's my real weird approach. So F major, the relative minor of that is D minor, of course. So what I did, I went to splice. I actually went to search for a lot of vocal samples in the relative key of D minor. If you don't know what the relative key is is actually the corresponding key in minor or major version that contains the same notes and the same intervals actually. So it's safe to assume that a lot of the things that are in F major will also work in D minor, with a minor, pun intended, with a few differences in between. Actually, a lot of artists use this when they're using autotune. They actually tune it to the relative major or minor key for the sake of having a dope cosmetic effect. I just think that's a real amazing trick to use. Now, with that being said, I do have my vocal sample, which is ran through my preset, of course. Let me break it down for y'all, of course. I'm using autotune, purely cosmetic, because the vocal samples are just A1. I'm using doubler for a deeper effect, pitch down the additional voices. EQ, of course, to filter out a lot of frequencies because I don't need my vocal sample to be too present. Reverb and delay, obvious reasons, give it more spaciness, make it more width. And compression, of course, just to sit it down in my mix better, because if left unchecked and uncompressed, it can be a real sore to listen to. And that's why my vocal samples right now is sounding like this. It's just there for the it's just there for the ambience, just to make sure that there are little Easter eggs in the background that you can listen to as a listener. Honestly, if I really gotta keep it a stack, the beat is practically done, because I don't want to oversaturate this beat. I don't want it to be overproduced. Actually, I think the beat is doing well, and you can see I actually have 3 different guitar samples, so there's already plenty of variation in that beat. So the only thing that I'm really going to be doing is I think I am going to open an instance of Contact, take out Glaze again. Man, I am a fan of that library for sure. Take out Glaze, copy and paste the chords that I'm using for the piano, and really call it a day. And I'm actually really gonna call it a day at that, honestly. If anything, yes, did I go through emotions? Yeah, I kind of did actually. And here's a lesson for y'all: not every beat needs to be a 3-hour-long endeavor. And I'm not advocating for your beats being 10-minute endeavors, but often if you've already got the essentials of a beat, it's okay to step away. You may come back later with some new ideas, fresh little details. Sure, that'll happen. But in terms of general outline, I was feeling this beat so much, everything just spoke to me. You feel me? Cool. So let me just introduce my pad preset to y'all. File, channel routing, pad preset, of course. Please, if you use effects a lot and you already know how you want them to sound, if you have your certain aesthetic, please just convert it to a preset. Saves you a lot of time tweaking stuff. So let's play what do we got now. I'm gonna cycle through some patches, of course. So what I'm probably going to do is just arrange this baby in my free time, because I really need the time to think what I want. Of course, it's going to be 8-bar intro, and then the hook, verse, bridge, hook, ride it on, outro, of course. But, I really got to have some time to listen to the beat, listen to my entire composition, and then determine which elements I want to keep and which elements I want to remove. With that being said, beautiful folks, I do hope that y'all enjoyed this short, sweet, more to the point kind of video where I'm just, you know, breaking down a dope sample and flipping it into something dope. And I just want to reiterate, R&B doesn't have to be complex. It's about the expressiveness, you know. And I like to think that having a good chord progression in R&B is at least 60% of the battle. Making that chord progression expressive with your embellishments, that's the other 30%. And if drums are all that you gotta worry about, well, shit, man, you're all set for life. Y'all enjoy this video, and I hope to see y'all in the next. Easy.